The Enfield Poltergeist, England, 1977. A documentary narrative in the quiet working-class suburb of Enfield, North London. Something inexplicable took hold of a modest council house at 284 Green Street. It began in the late summer of 1977, a year already steeped in the unease of economic struggle and political unrest in Britain. Yet, for the Hodgson family, nothing could prepare them for what would come. A series of events that would captivate the media, confound skeptics, and become one of the most famous cases of supposed paranormal activity in British history. The Hodgsons, single mother Peggy, and her 4 children, Margaret, 13, Janet, 11, Johnny, 10, and Billy, 7, had lived in the house for some time without incident. That all changed on the evening of August 30th, when Janet and Johnny first reported hearing strange scratching sounds coming from within the walls. Initially, Peggy dismissed these noises as childish imagination or perhaps a problem with the plumbing. But when heavy furniture began moving on its own, drawers slid out without human touch, and toys flew across the room, denial quickly gave way to terror. The local police were called, and officers arrived expecting a routine domestic disturbance. What they witnessed was anything but. One constable reported seeing a chair move across the room unaided, a statement later written and signed. The incident prompted Peggy to seek help beyond the authorities, turning to the Society for Psychical Research, SPR. It wasn't long before Maurice Gross, a researcher from the SPR, and a man personally affected by the recent death of his own daughter, took a particular interest in the case. Gross, joined later by veteran investigator Guy Lyon Playfair, moved into the house for extended periods to observe firsthand what was happening. Over the course of many months, they recorded hundreds of hours of audio, took dozens of photographs, and compiled extensive written reports. What they claimed to witness defied logical explanation. Objects levitating and hurling themselves across rooms, cold spots appearing without cause, knockings and raps following a call and response pattern, and, perhaps most disturbingly, 11-year-old Janet speaking in a deep, guttural voice, purportedly that of a spirit named Bill Wilkins. Wilkins, according to Janet's trance-like state, was a man who had died in the house years prior, supposedly choking in a chair. Gross and Playfair traced the name and details and did, in fact, find a man by that name who had lived and died in the home under similar circumstances. For the investigators, this was a breakthrough. To skeptics, it was a convenient alignment of facts that could be explained away. Media interest exploded. Reporters from major outlets, including the Daily Mirror, flocked to the scene. Some claimed to witness events. Others left unimpressed. Photographs of Janet seemingly levitating off her bed mid-air circulated in tabloids, becoming iconic and controversial. Was she really being thrown by an invisible force or simply jumping? Criticism came swiftly and harshly. Skeptics accused Janet and Margaret of orchestrating the events, perhaps subconsciously as a response to the emotional toll of their parents' divorce and subsequent upheaval. On one occasion, the girls were caught bending spoons and hiding tape recorders. Yet even in the face of these incidents, Gross and Playfair remained convinced. They acknowledged that while some events may have been faked, possibly for attention, the majority were genuine and unexplainable. Janet, who bore the brunt of the supposed possession, later admitted to fabricating some events, but firmly stood by the core of the story. Not all of it was real, she said in a later interview, but most of it was. Scientific explanations range from suggestion and hysteria to poltergeist phenomena, being the result of unconscious psychokinesis. The idea that troubled adolescents could somehow, unknowingly, cause physical disturbances through mental energy. Still, no consensus was ever reached. The activity appeared to wane in 1979, 2 years after it began. Life returned to a kind of normal for the Hodgsons. Janet left home, married, and avoided media attention for decades. Maurice Gross continued investigating other phenomena, but always referred to Enfield as the most compelling case of his career. In the decades since, the Enfield Poltergeist has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and dramatizations, including the television series The Enfield Haunting and a prominent subplot in The Conjuring 2. These representations, while dramatized, have kept the story alive, prompting new generations to ask, what really happened at 284 Green Street? To this day, the Enfield case remains a lightning rod in the world of paranormal study. For believers, it is perhaps the most convincing example of poltergeist activity ever recorded. For skeptics, it is a masterclass in mass delusion, confirmation bias, and media sensationalism. But for the Hodgson family, it was something else entirely. A haunting chapter in their personal history that changed their lives forever. Whatever the truth, the Enfield Poltergeist endures, not just as a ghost story, but as a reflection of how we process the unknown. It speaks to our fears, our need for explanation, and the thin line between belief and disbelief. Whether it was real or imagined, the events in Enfield became a mirror to the human condition. Mysterious, messy, and filled with shadows just beyond the light.